But I think we were even getting like, oh, he's got 2 games left. Almost every 2 weeks, it felt like we were getting that. And that's kind of
also think about how bad it got and he still didn't go.
Yeah, if you were going to sack him, you would have done it by now.
Like the Grimsby game, he could have gone after that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought he didn't go.
He didn't go after all that, do you know what I mean? So maybe that's why he might stay.
Maybe we might win the league. Who knows?
Adam, are Man United back?
I don't know. I think the last week and the 2 games that have been in that week kind of probably encapsulate where we are right now. You're going to see some bad, you're going to see some good while we try and, do this system. I thought the Everton game was worse than the Grimsby game for me because we played against 10 men for so long, didn't create a chance. And one of the frustrating things for me, and I guess we kind of have to accept it, is we had 3 centre-backs the whole time against 10 men. Why not put Casemiro as one of them, let him push forward? I don't know, change something so that we've got more attacking players on the pitch. And I think the whole of Old Trafford kind of felt that we're not really risking anything here. We're not going for it. And it felt like Everton would get an easy 3 points or at best would grab a draw. And that was a really disappointing game. So disappointing that I went into the game against Palace kind of thinking they're going to beat us here and it's going to be an easy 3 points for them. And one of the things that worried me as well was after the Everton game, after we've had that decent run, we have the Everton game, we lose, the manager came out and he went, I'm a bit scared it might turn into how it was last season. I was like, brother, me too, I'm scared too, but like you kind of got to calm me down and calm everyone else down. And is to a fault too honest at times. And I think that can...
We've said that before, haven't we?
Yeah. I like it at times, but then also there's times like that where I'm going, oh, I'm shitting myself now because you are. And I thought that was strange, but the result and the performance in the second half against Palace was excellent. Palace are obviously a very difficult team to play against. I know they probably tied a little bit in the second half, and I don't think they've won a game after a European game yet this season. So maybe some of those things add into it. But I thought the problem solving during the game was very good. I thought the set pieces were very good. It was good to see Xerxes get a goal because I do think there's a player in there, but he has to be really confident. And it was good to see Mason Mount complete 90 minutes as well.
You know the sort of run of form that you've been on. So I know Everton's in the middle of that, but before I think you've been 5 unbeaten. Obviously, you've won away at Palace, which is a great result. So this has probably been the best sort of, what would you say, 6 to 8 weeks for the manager since he's been...
Yeah, we've had 9 games. I think it's 2 draws, a defeat and 6 wins. So that's probably been his best.
So what I'm saying is, but even if you just looked at those games, this is his best time. Does that give you hope that this guy could be the man that gets you back? I'm not even saying to win the league, but actually really competing.
I think
because
so.
We looked at him Monday Night Football, the style, he's gone a lot more direct, maybe since the goalkeeper's coming in, because he's got a really good kick on him. Is there anything about the way they play, not just the rules, that gives you sort of hope and belief going forward that you could get back with this guy in charge?
I think the last 2 games have shown us how important Cunha and Sesko are. Yeah. Because I think that, and once you take those 2 out, we've basically got the same team as last season, plus Mbumo. So I think we do need to make signings. I think the midfield area, I'm always going to keep banging on how about that is a problem area for us. I think Casemiro has improved, and Bruno will obviously always be Bruno, but then...
Bruno's got, I'm just reading here, has now got more assists in the Premier League than Paul Scholes.
Than Scholes. But stats can be bastards at times, I guess. But
Said Scholesy.
Yeah. There was a point in time in that game against Everton where Casemiro and Bruno just followed each other to the touchline. And he was like, we've got no one in the middle of the park. And I think they do have a little bit of that bozo gene in them sometimes where they just start running around and then we've got no midfield. So I think we need to sort that out and get someone in there. Ugarte is clearly not fancied by the manager. So I think sorting that out is huge. Kobbie Mainoo not being in a team, every time I see it, it kind of makes me sick because he's the kind of talent we should be building around. Look, I think we can beat anybody, but we can also be beaten by anybody. And that's the problem. But I think against Liverpool and that little run around there, we showed the positives of this system. If you get Sesko brought into the game and you get Mbumo and Cunha flying, then you're going to have a good time. But far too often, Luke Shaw's getting too much of the ball. Dorgu's getting too much of the ball. And it's like, if 2 of your main attacking outlets are Luke Shaw and Patrick Dorgu, you've got a problem. So maybe it's a personnel thing, maybe it's a system thing, I don't know. But we are getting there, but it's very slowly.
All right, there's a question here. And it's made me think of something with Rio Ferdinand, actually. Who is more likely to remain in their current job for next season? Arne Slot or Ruben Amorim? And the reason I say that, I think Rio messaged me on social media saying, why aren't I giving Arne Slot the same stick that I
hate when United fans say that because one of them's going into his meeting with his board, with the Premier League winners men of the
I know, it was just a bizarre. I didn't even.
It does wind me up. Or why ain't no one talking about Man City the same way? You support the biggest club in the world, arguably. Like, you should get used to the fact that we're always going to be the topic of conversation. Yes, it can be frustrating at times. I think the reason why I'd say Amorim is most likely to be there is because of the backing from the board, and I don't know what that's like from the Liverpool end. And if this
you think Amorim's more likely to be at Man United?
But that's only because I have no knowledge of what the board is like with Arne Slot, and I know more from a Manchester United perspective that they've said they're going to stick by him. You know, they're going to allow him a few years in the job. So if that's the case, and we see this kind of form throughout the rest of the season, I imagine they'll stick with him. And if Liverpool's form does continue, as much as I hope it does, Arne Slot
standards.
I think that the only reason Amorim is still in the job is because of Arteta. I think that they've looked at what Arteta's done at Arsenal.
Not everything's about Arsenal. I promise you. I promise you. Not everything is about.
To be fair to him, Jim Ratcliffe did say that. But Ratcliffe did mention Arsenal and Arteta.
If he doesn't win games, you can't.
So what? United can stick with Amorim for 6 more years and win nothing? Is that what we're saying? Is that genuinely what we're saying? Because that's the model. He's not gone anywhere, mate.
Yeah, but it's the.
Yeah, you're asking him. Stop looking at me. You're asking him.
But it's in the sense that United are not a great team. When Arteta took over Arsenal weren't a great team. It got bad before it got better, and I think that you're in that sort of phase that Arteta was in when he was taking over a squad. Some players were on too much money and hard to get out the door, and he's slowly but surely getting in some of his own. And I think that the board would have looked at what Arteta's done. I'm not trying to make it all about Arsenal, but I think Arteta's made it difficult for directors to sack their manager early because he's shown that if you do trust the process, it will get better.
We've had this thing, Will, with like United fans always go, "Oh, well, Fergie got 3 years before," and it's like, it has to be you have to give the right man the right time, right? And if things are slipping through your fingers and you can feel it, how we did a couple of weeks ago, well, probably about 2 months ago.
That's what I don't get. Like, you know, with us, I think there is still a pretty decent amount of faith in Slot. But I looked at the odds this morning before I come out because I was just wondering. And, you know, Slot's like third favourite to get sacked right now. Amorim's like 25 to 1. And I was quite surprised by that because I thought, you know, your lot were like really unhappy, quite rightly, to losing to the 10 men of Everton at home. Like, shouldn't he be under a little bit more pressure to get back to Rio? Like,
I think Jim Ratcliffe coming out and saying that stuff has really calmed everything down, and it may even made him feel a little bit better out of it when he's coming out after games that we've maybe not done well in, and he's thinking, well, I've got the backing of the board. I think it has calmed everyone down, and we were even getting, and look, results would have helped that. But I think we were even getting like, oh, he's got 2 games left. Almost every 2 weeks, it felt like we were getting that. And that's kind of
also think about how bad it got and he still didn't go.
Yeah, if you were going to sack him, you would have done it by now.
Like the Grimsby game, he could have gone after that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought he didn't go.
He didn't go after all that. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's why he might stay.
Maybe we might win the league. Who knows?